Look at this. This is one single cucumber plant, and I've already harvested 19 cucumbers from it this week. 19. And it's not slowing down. If you've grown cucumbers before, you know that's not normal. You plant some seeds, get a small flush of fruit in early summer, and then right around the time you're actually craving cucumbers, the plant collapses powdery mildew, bitter fruit, misshapen cucumbers, and by August, you're pulling out a dead vine wondering what went wrong. Here's the truth. Cucumbers aren't fragile, and you probably didn't do anything wrong. You just weren't shown the method that actually matches how a cucumber plant wants to grow. In the right setup, cucumbers are one of the most explosively productive plants you can put in your yard, your balcony, or even a single pot. A single healthy vine can produce 30, 40, even 60 fruits in a season. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how, from the soil up. Why most homegrown cucumbers underperform most people grow cucumbers sprawling flat on the ground, the way the seed packet illustration shows. The huge leaves stack on top of each other, blocking airflow and light to the lower part of the plant, which invites powdery and downy mildew, the two diseases that kill more home cucumber plants than anything else. Fruit, sitting against damp soil, rots faster and grows misshapen, and it's hidden under all that foliage, which makes it easy to miss at harvest time. And missing harvests is the real hidden problem. A cucumber plant doesn't decide in advance how many fruits to make. It responds in real time to how many mature fruits are already hanging on it. Every cucumber left on the vine past its prime sends a signal back through the plant that essentially says reproduction is going well. You can slow down now. Miss harvests even by a few days, over and over, and the plant quietly throttles back flower and fruit production for the rest of the season, even though it still looks perfectly healthy. Add in inconsistent watering, which causes bitterness and blossom drop, poor pollination, which causes flowers to shrivel without ever becoming fruit, and feeding the plant once at planting time and forgetting about it. And you've got the 5 reasons most home cucumber plants disappoint. Every one of these has a simple, cheap fix, and that's the method. Choosing the right variety. Pick a vining variety, not a bush-type more plant, means more leaves, more photosynthesis, and more fruit over the season. Look for disease resistance on the seed packet, letters like PM or DM for powdery and downy mildew resistance. And if pollinators are scarce where you're growing a high balcony, an urban lot, consider a parthenocarpic variety, which sets fruit without pollination at all, removing that variable entirely. Site, soil, and the vertical trellis cucumbers want at least 6 hours of direct sun, loose, compost-rich soil with a pH around 6.0 to 6. 8, and a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch on top to hold moisture, suppress weeds, and keep the soil temperature stable. In containers, go big, 10 to 15 gallons minimum, with real drainage holes, since a cramped pot is one of the most common reasons container cucumbers stall out by midsummer. Now, the core of this whole method: grow the vine vertically instead of letting it sprawl. Build a simple trellis, an A-frame of cattle panel over a bed, a flat panel of wire fencing against a fence or wall, or an upside-down tomato cage in a container at least 6 feet tall and anchored solidly. Plant seedlings 12 to 18 inches apart at the base and gently guide the growing tip, and loosely tie the main stem to the trellis every week or 2 as it climbs. Going vertical solves nearly every problem at once. Better airflow means far less disease pressure. Every leaf gets good light instead of being shaded out. Fruit hangs freely in open air instead of resting on soil, so it grows straighter and cleaner. And because you can see the whole plant at a glance, you'll actually catch and pick fruit on time, which, remember, is exactly what keeps the plant producing instead of shutting down. Watering, pollination, and feeding water deeply, 2 to 3 times a week, rather than a little bit every day. Frequent shallow watering trains roots to stay near the surface, where they dry out and stress faster. Deep, less frequent watering builds a stronger root system that can handle heat. Containers dry out faster and often need daily attention in summer. Check by feeling the soil a couple inches down rather than watering on a fixed schedule. Drip irrigation on a cheap timer is genuinely the single best upgrade you can make here, because it keeps the leaves dry while still soaking the roots, and dry leaves are one of the best defenses against mildew. Pollination is the piece almost nobody talks about, and it's often the real reason a healthy-looking plant just isn't producing. Learn to spot female flowers. They have a tiny embryonic cucumber sitting right at the base of the bloom, unlike male flowers, which sit on a plain stalk. If those female flowers are blooming and then shriveling without swelling into fruit, that's a pollination gap. Fix it by hand pollinating every morning during bloom. Touch a small soft brush or cotton swab to an open male flower to pick up pollen, then dab it onto the center of an open female flower. It takes seconds per flower, and it works almost immediately. Feed in phases rather than once, and forgetting about it. Go light and balanced during early growth. Shift toward a phosphorus-leaning fertilizer through flowering, and then switch to a potassium-heavy feed every 10 to 14 days once fruiting begins. Potassium is what every single developing cucumber pulls straight out of the plant's reserves, and running low on it is why so many otherwise healthy plants stall right when they should be at peak production. Pruning and pest prevention. Keep pruning light. Remove the lowest 1 or 2 leaves as the vine climbs, since they get the least light and are most likely to spread soil-borne disease. Snip off anything showing early signs of mildew immediately, and once the vine reaches the top of your trellis, pinch the growing tip so the plant redirects its energy into more flowers and fruit instead of more height. Don't aggressively prune off the side shoots the way you might with a tomato. Those lateral vines are exactly where most of your fruit actually forms. Watch for cucumber beetles, aphids, and powdery mildew, all of which thrive in the crowded, damp, poorly ventilated conditions this vertical method largely eliminates in the first place. Check the undersides of leaves regularly. Hand-pick beetles into soapy water in the early morning when they're slow, and treat early mildew with a simple homemade spray, a diluted milk and water mix, or a baking soda and soap solution, before it has a chance to spread across the whole plant. Harvest constantly. This is the habit that ties every other piece of the method together. Check the plant daily, or every other day once fruiting begins, since fruit can go from small to fully mature within a day or two in peak summer heat. Pick slicing cucumbers around 6 to 8 inches long, and pickling types smaller at 3 to 4 inches, and cut the stem cleanly with snips rather than pulling or twisting the fruit off, which can damage the vine. When in doubt, pick a day early rather than a day late. The more consistently you harvest, the more consistently the plant keeps flowering, because you're never letting it get that you're done signal. This one habit, more than anything else, is what keeps a plant producing for months instead of weeks. Recap: grow it vertical instead of letting it sprawl. Water deeply and consistently, ideally through drip irrigation that keeps the leaves dry. Hand pollinate if bees are scarce where you're growing. Feed in phases, leaning hard into potassium once fruiting starts. Prune lightly lowest leaves, diseased leaves, and the growing tip once it hits the top of the trellis. Nothing more. And harvest constantly, every single day if you can manage it. None of these steps are complicated on their own. What makes the difference is doing all of them together, consistently, as one connected system. That's the entire secret behind the plant I showed you at the start of this video. No special trick, no rare seed, just a complete method that finally matches what a cucumber plant actually wants. If this helped, let me know in the comments which part you're changing first, and subscribe if you want to follow along with this exact method for the rest of the season.